The goal of marketing is to make sales easier. I say that because good marketing builds awareness, trust, and credibility. And having those things makes it much easier to sell your products and services to your dream customers when they need them. Today, there are more ways than ever for businesses to do marketing. You can start a blog, a podcast, a newsletter, a YouTube channel, a Substack, a Patreon. You can be active on Twitter and LinkedIn and TikTok. You can speak at events, you can host events, you can do field marketing, channel marketing, and partner marketing. There are literally dozens of ways to market your business today. But I've found one that is still overlooked and most often completely ignored. It's a marketing strategy that I use to help Drift become one of the fastest growing SaaS companies of all time and achieve over $1 billion valuation. It's a marketing strategy that I use to help Privy get acquired by Attentive for 9 figures. And in this book, I'm going to do my best to share that marketing strategy with you. It's all about building a brand for the company's founder. The Drift story. When people start a new business, they often miss the most obvious and easiest way to market it, which is to tell the founder's story. I see so many startups and new companies jump right into product features. And that's important. You have to market the product, of course. But at the end of the day, people want to buy from people. And building a brand for the founder is an incredible way to cut through the noise and build trust and credibility with potential customers in the early days of a company when you need every advantage you can get. This idea of focusing on the founder's story was revolutionary to me as a marketer at a startup personally, and it's worked time and time again, which is why I'm now here writing this book. Marketing is all about understanding people, and what I knew was that people like to know other people, but I hadn't fully comprehended the power of the connection being with the founder. Shortly after I began working at Drift, I met with one of our advisors, Heat and Shaw. We were kicking around ideas about how we might put Drift on the map, and I think he was doing a little bit of sizing me up on behalf of the Drift founder, of course. Heaton is a master of digital marketing and social media, especially when it comes to startups. And in our conversation, he pushed me on the idea of building a brand for David Cancel, the company's CEO and founder, instead of just pushing the Drift product. David Cancel had a big following on Twitter already and was well known in the local startup and VC community, so we went out into the Boston area to get him booked for speaking events, podcast interviews, and guest blog posts. His Twitter following was important because we were able to target our outreach to active and engaged members of that audience, aka people who already knew David. We used those connections to promote the idea of an innovative company in Boston. But we didn't just focus on the Drift product. We focused on telling David's story. He was the former chief product officer at HubSpot, which had just gone public. He had a few successful startup exits before starting Drift. He was a frequent guest lecturer at top business schools like Harvard Business School and MIT. And he was building his 5th startup, all of which have been in a similar niche, sales and marketing technology. So as a marketer, I had a lot to work with outside of the company story. And then we launched his podcast, Seeking Wisdom, where each week he was on the mic, I got to play co-host, and we opened up a bit more. Instead of just seeing tweets from David about his experience, people were able to hear him firsthand through the podcast. Each week, we'd record new episodes where I'd interview David about his background, his life, learnings, working style, startup lessons, and more. And this allowed us to turn passive Twitter followers into raving podcast fans. Instead of just scrolling through Twitter and seeing David's tweets, we now had people literally listening to his voice in their headphones every week. And that podcast exploded. There are over 50,000 downloads a month, and we felt a direct impact on the attention and awareness for Drift, too. Despite never pitching our products and services on the podcast directly, Seeking Wisdom became the #1 reason people heard about Drift and eventually bought our products. It was because people got to know, like, and trust us through Seeking Wisdom, through David and myself being active on Twitter. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't lucky. Not all startup founders and CEOs do this. They don't all want to start a podcast and be active on social media and go speak at events. Luckily for me and for Drift, David Cancel was a founder who truly got marketing. But it still took some persistence on my part, and there were many weeks where I'd have to get him into the room to record our podcast. But he trusted me, and I made it easy for him. We had a format that just required him to basically be interviewed by me once a week for 30 minutes. From there, we could build our relationship and develop a podcast that would connect with our intended audience.